This is the revolution. This is our time to evolve. This is our time to come together, our time to really look at how powerful we are.
When it comes to safety and a person's health, the fact is that every single person has their own health profile. They have their own genetic profile.
Kids couldn't go do their well baby checks and wellness checks. So in SIDS alone, so sudden infant death syndrome, dramatically dropped by 30% because kids weren't being vaccinated.
I suggest adopting that open hand policy for greater peace and trust. And it doesn't mean we won't suffer, but we may suffer less from anxiety and worry and fear.
We've become obsessed with the effects. We have been obsessed with symptoms. And maybe it's time to look at things differently. Maybe it's time to make different choices. It's Dr. Devin, and I have a very special guest at If They Knew today, Miss Britney Valas, a local gal up in the Kansas City area that I had the honor and pleasure of hearing at the Freedom Revival in September, right here. This girl rocked the stage. She had everybody at the edge of her seats. She's had a lot going on up there in Kansas City. She's made some big moves. She's a huge inspiration to me personally and professionally. For those of you who do not know you, Miss Britney, why don't you tell everybody who you are and a little bit about what's up in your world?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devin. Thanks for having me on. Well, I guess I'll keep it really short because there's a lot to every person, right? We're all wearing a ton of hats right now, especially in this COVID environment and the world the way it is. There's just so much uncertainty that we've had to create hats to fill those voids and to secure ourselves in this new world. So basically who I am at the core of everything, I'm a mother of 5 children. And every single decision that I make is for them, everything I do. So basically that's the core of all of my hats. And then additionally, I'm also a restaurant owner and I work for a nonprofit, ICAN. I work as the development director for them. And I also started a school, so why not? So I kind of do a bunch of different things. And all of it is to intertwine to create a world for my kids that they can feel secure and loved and thrive and just do really, really well.
So you guys can see why I love her and why I'm drawn to the fire that she is creating and building. And wow, right? Like when people say, man, I just don't have time to ... I think of people like you that are like, and I'm this and that, and I do that. But what I love the most is you're able to do all those things because you're very rock solid clear the heartbeat of your children and the world that you're going to hand them. Now, when I invite people in, and this is such a loaded question, especially in today's times, but what is the one thing, right? Because we could take this lots of different avenues. What's the one thing that if they knew, if the world knew, would shape a very different reality for all of us?
You know, I really wish there was an opportunity for people to hear the perspective from the business owner, from a restaurant owner. When you turn on the news and the media, restaurants and bars are getting treated like the redheaded stepchildren. Like we are bullied pretty much. I mean, we're targeted as the cause of all of these, if you're afraid of the virus, don't go to a restaurant, don't go to a bar, you're going to get it. But, Target and Costco's okay, but don't go to a restaurant. So, it's just crazy. So we get targeted in the news and the media as a spot, either subconsciously or consciously for people to be afraid of coming in and dining with us. Our concept, we are not Chick-fil-A or Wendy's or Burger King. So we don't have a drive-through and fast food type of deal. And while our takeout has increased substantially since COVID began, we are a dine-in experience. And we have an entire staff who make their living based on customers coming into our restaurant and experiencing an incredible, breakfasts and an opportunity to create relationships with their friends and their loved ones. So for us, business declining in a dine-in kind of situation is a big problem. And so I want to just share the perspective of the business owner in contrast to what is being portrayed of, you know, you need to reduce occupancy, you have to social distance, you have to do every other table and require everyone to cover their faces in order to survive as a business. Like, that's what they're telling you. That's what they're telling us. We're doing this for you so you will survive. The problem is this, like, if you boil it all the way down to, okay, if somebody does get COVID, the reality is it is absolutely impossible to absolutely 100% figure out where that person got it. You know, people are exposed to all kinds of people all the time, you know? So like, to say that a person got COVID literally from our restaurant, whether from someone, a server or a host or the kitchen or the food, whatever the reason, to say that, and then they exposed someone who exposed someone who exposed someone, and then someone's 95-year-old grandmother in a nursing home who has had no interaction with anybody happens to pass away, to try to tie that all the way back to a restaurant or a bar, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. So first of all, that being the underlying, like, we need to put all of this in place to save lives, when the majority of the lives being lost to COVID are those in nursing home facilities. Like, I don't see that direct correlation as to why we need to sacrifice our business in order for these restrictions to go forward. So that's the first spot. And I see you have a question, Devin.
Yeah, I mean, I want to highlight a few things that jumped out that were light bulbs for me as you're sharing. What do you think the detriment is, you know, in a community, in an area where we have less opportunities for having meals and sharing? I mean, because that's part of our culture, and being able to like go have, you know, I love that. What I hear is you hold a high reverence for that, and being able to provide that to your community. And I haven't heard it put like that. So and it's not just dollars, right? It's your passion to provide high quality food and dining experience to your area, your community, which, thank you. Because, you know, that's when we start to lose those things and we start to break out into isolation, what kind of impact do you think that has?
Oh my goodness. Well, and it has had it, that the impact has been huge. I mean, I have had so many customers come in who have, like, you know, especially once we reopened after COVID, and they went just 2 months not going to a restaurant. And they were so grateful for the experience of having a conversation with someone they care about over a meal, maybe with a Bloody Mary. And it's just the energy exchange. You know, people constantly say, well, you're putting profits before people. No, I'm putting people first. Well, I want people to have that energy and that exchange and that opportunity.
It's huge. It's huge. And I think one of the things there's lots of things that aren't being talked about right now, but one of the things is we're talking about the potential danger of interaction, but we don't talk about the health benefits of connection and community. We don't talk about, you know, the highest form of punishment in our criminal justice system is solitary confinement, because isolation is so deadly and to the mental and physical body. So the other thing that jumped out, you know, as you're sharing, is the livelihoods of your employees, like leading a team through this time, and how can you justify, hey, this business over here gets to, I mean, Walmart can have as many people in there as it wants, touching all the items and doing all the things, but your mom and pop restaurant with real people can't.
So the thing is, for me, like, when I care about something, like, I put so much heart behind it. Like, it is like, it's not just a dollar and cents type of operation. I'm not a Walmart executive. I am the owner of a restaurant that is providing for a number of families. And I see in their eyes whenever they are thinking about how to provide Christmas for their families and things like that. I care about everyone that works with me. I care about all of our customers, and I want us to survive in order to give them this livelihood. And the thing is, like, for our concept, 70% of our business happens on a Saturday and Sunday. So when customers come in and they only hear one perspective of the narrative, that we are being irresponsible by not social distancing, what they don't understand is that if we were to social distance on our busiest days where we make the most income, then we might as well close our doors in about a month, because we would lose, you know, 30-40% of our business on a Saturday or Sunday if we tried to social distance, if we tried to do every other table or reduce occupancy. And
what's happening? to a lot of places.
Yeah, we cannot do that. If we chose to follow that guideline at all, we wouldn't be able to bring in the revenues that we need in order to have an operation so that our staff could have that livelihood for their families and for Christmas and for paying bills and for all of that kind of stuff. So I take that responsibility very seriously as an owner. Like I really do. And I want to make sure that this is stays afloat. I want it to thrive. I want it to be amazing. And it's not for me. I mean, I'm providing for my 5 children, but that's one reason I wear so many hats. I like a lot of backup plans, but I want this to survive for my staff. And so for everybody that comes in and for our customers, they love our food. They love our service. So if we want to continue to give them that experience, we have to make business decisions that make sense and not just knee-jerk reactions based on what some county commissioner who's never been in this concept before wants to decide for us. And that's really one thing that I kind of look at when all these mandates come down and when all these people think they know better than us. They've never invested in my business. They've never put a dollar in. So for them to try to tell me this is how you need to operate your business, I mean, my initial instinct is a lot of bad words I'm not going to share with you. That's my first reaction 100% of the time. You know what you can do with that. But but I have to think about it from a business sense. And this is what I try to tell people. Right now, there are 3 target markets in the entire community. Okay. You have the first target market of people that are concerned. Maybe they do have exposure to high risk category of people. You know, they're the people that they have not been in a restaurant. They probably are still quarantining or they're very, very concerned. So that target market of people, they're not coming into our restaurant regardless of what mandate is coming through the pipeline. I'm not going to worry about them. If they want to order anything, they'll do DoorDash, they'll do delivery. I'm not worried about them. So I'm not going to put my energy into trying to market to them. So then you have the second category of people that's kind of in between. These are the people that they're going out a little bit. They're a little concerned, you know, they want to like be safe. And so they're following that narrative. But at the same time, they're going out. So, okay, we've got those people. And for the most part, you know, most of those people are compliant more so than fearful. So we, you know, approach that target market. And then there's also the third target market where people are they're not afraid. They want to go out. They want to experience normal. To them, normal of 2019 is more important than, you know, protecting themselves with masks and social distancing and plexiglass. So you have these 2 target markets that are actually providing your business. And what we've discovered is that honestly, by having everybody is welcome approach, and I'm going to treat every customer as if they're a king or queen, and I'm going to lay out the red carpet and treat them with respect and with an amazing experience, regardless of where they fall. Like for us, that seems to be the most successful way to do it because you're not alienating anybody. And we do have choices. So like if people want to, they can do delivery or DoorDash or whatever else, or they can come early in the morning or later in the afternoon, before we close, or Monday through Friday. So those days are a lot slower and they can come in. So we can cater to those people that do want to have more of the social distancing type of experiences. For those people, my staff has chosen to wear a mask so that they feel, they feel more comfortable and all that. And so that their livelihood is secured through tipping and things like that. But again, it's their choice with it. Again, it's all about allowing the opportunity for people to be who they are. And how we express it to everyone is that on the governor's order and the mandate, there is a long list of exemptions available. And medical, whether it's stress related, like if you had an experience or whatever it is, they're all available. And I take it upon myself to not want to pry in people's personal lives. I don't think it's any of my business. If you're coming in to get a biscuit sandwich and a Bloody Mary, I don't need to know your medical background in order to do that. So if someone comes in without a mask, then I assume they're exempt and it's none of my business. So we allow this environment of trying to make it comfortable for people. You don't feel that stress.
Yeah. And so you mentioned ICAN, which is, for those that don't know, ICAN is
Informed Consent Action Network. It's a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. The two respects that you're showing is, number one, you're providing a service that there is a market of people that want. There is a market of people who are not afraid, who have their own feelings about their own immune system and blah, blah, blah. So you want to respect their access to business and to the products and services that they want. And you're respecting informed consent. And the governor does give a list of exemptions, which most people don't know. They don't know that, you do have a choice. And I think it's important in these times. One of the things I keep saying is I'm looking for leadership, because there's, and looking for these people that are willing to have brave, tough conversations. And I see you as one of those people, because you're not taking the popular road, but you're taking the road that creates the conversations we need to have. So I'm grateful for that. Now, what kind of impact do you think this has if more business owners take time to really get to know these exemptions, their rights, really looking at how can I run my business and be, cognizant of the world we live in? How do you think that starts to change the game?
So the thing is this, I understand a lot of business owners are afraid of public perception that could turn negative. So that is like their number one driver and motivation, to make sure that they follow what they think is being portrayed in the mainstream media, that they think everybody believes along those lines. And so they don't want to rock the boat. They want to follow the rules, they're rule followers, things like that, so that they can secure what they think is positive public perception. So let me share with you my experience though. So like, if you looked at our reviews, we have a number of really positive reviews for our restaurant, but we also have reviews where they're tearing us apart, because when I work, I don't wear a mask, and I allow that freedom and everything else. So judging off of those negative reviews, you would think that our business would be plummeting, right? Because they're ratting us out, they're blah, 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 they're tearing us apart socially, they're shaming us. The opposite has happened, because that third group of the target market that's out there, they are seeking establishments that can give them that freedom. And when they go to that establishment, they feel so good. It's an emotional high for them that they want to continue supporting that establishment to stay open. So they're constantly coming back. So they become extremely loyal, and then they tell everybody that they know, and then they come in and they become extremely loyal. And that's the customer that's going to catapult you into actual success instead of just surviving above water. So as a business owner, it's understanding the reality versus what is perceived based off of the narrative that's being pushed on you on a daily basis to succeed. And I think the first thing is overcoming that fear of the potential backlash from the public. What they need to understand is that fear, it's not accurate. If you're treating everybody in a positive way, meaning you're not going to tell somebody what to put on their face or what not to put on their face. And if you have a party of 8 or 10 that wants to come in, seat them, just seat them. If you have a hungry family, and instead of telling them it's a 3-hour wait because you're doing every other table, just seat them. If people are that nervous and concerned about having every other table, they can do takeout, or they can do, DoorDash or whatever else, but get over the fear that you're going to have a negative public perception pushed on you by allowing people the opportunity to dine in your restaurant or to drink at your bar. And what they're going to find is that their sales are actually going to increase, because people are going to find out that this is a place you can go to. I apologize, I'm in my restaurant. There's dishes in the back.
It's fine. And I'm sure, because I've gotten to share multiple conversations with you, if any, I think salons, I have multiple friends that own salons. I think of them as well, because they're dealing with a lot of this same type of thing. But if there is a business owner that's listening right now and you have questions, you're like, man, she sounds like me. She sounds like my heart. And you have questions. I'm sure you're open to connect with people. Yes?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. And then that's one thing that we've started as a community of businesses around here. Oh, this is an amazing thing. So, okay. Don Cholitos is a Mexican restaurant in Kansas City, and they were targeted.
Good.
Okay.
I like that. I used to eat there when I was in chiropractic school there.
Oh, yeah, they've been around forever, right?
Okay.
So for a long time, they were targeted. And so they were all over the news here. They were actually featured on Good Morning America. And I had the pleasure of meeting the owner, Barry. And he said that before he was targeted, like his business was really struggling. Like his numbers were not good at all. And ever since then, it's been like 2 weeks. His numbers have been through the roof. The support has been insane, almost around the block. And people need to understand that people on the news are not going to be the ones that are going to frequent your business. It's real people. The real people are going to come to your business.
So we'll make sure in the show notes there's links to keep people connected to you. So if they have questions about these things that you've talked about or that community of businesses, because we need to not be on isolation islands as business owners. I think it's really important to stay connected with like-minded business owners right now more than ever. To the people that hear you and go, you're putting people at danger. Like this is reckless. This is, we're trying to control the spread. When they say that, what's the one liner or the small, because I know you've had it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We get that a lot. So absolutely. I do care about people. I care about them a lot. And that's why we are operating the way that we are. And when it comes to safety and a person's health, the fact is that every single person has their own health profile. They have their own genetic profile. They have their own like environmental exposures. And for me to try to accommodate thousands of unique health profiles in my restaurant, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that, and to keep them safe by requiring masks and requiring plexiglass and every other table means that you have to agree that that is the way to stop the spread and to save lives. And we've had this mandate going since July. We've done all of this stuff. People have been doing this. And if anything, it's increased. So in my critical way of thinking, I don't agree that the mandate and the way that they are saying this is the solution, I don't think that it's really working, or else by now it would have worked. So, so I say that, and I want to care about people in the way of giving them an experience. And if they're really concerned about their health, we'll give them a delivery option.
I know you have a huge heart, and I know that our way out of all of this is through. And I pray for all of us as we navigate the rights and the wrongs, because there's so many. It's all about perspective and life experience. As we wrap up, let's go back to that heartbeat, right? One of the things that I have felt personally, I'm a mom of 5 as well. And then all these moms in my practice and in my community, it is weighing on them. They're tired, they're sad, they're, angry. What do you say to the mama bears out there, one foot in front of the other in it, trying to protect their tribes? How do you fuel their fire?
I tell them, don't think about the future. Don't think about tomorrow. Think about right now. The future gives you stress because you can't control it. It's going to come whether you like it or not. Only think about today and do the things that you can control today. And if today you can put a smile on your kids' faces, then you've won. Don't worry about it. And for the business owners, don't think about all of the what ifs. Take out that equation, take out that thought process, and only think about what makes sense to keep your business alive so you can provide for everyone that's connected to you. And don't worry about anything else, because if you close your doors because they tell you you need to shut down at 10 p.m. or whatever else, you are the one putting yourself out of business, not the government. There. You are.
We all have choices. And
we all have choices.
We need to ask, critical thinking we need to apply, and then we have to make big girl, big boy decisions about how we actively engage in this time. Anything else that's on your heart that you want to share with anybody who might be tuned in right now?
I just want to say, really think about, like, if you feel that anxiety, if you feel that fear of what can happen, most fear comes from the what if type of equation. And whether that's what if, it could be anything at all can create that anxiety inside of you. And what I strongly recommend is, confront it, absorb it, sit with it, process it, then let it go. Honestly, let it go. Consume your thoughts with what is right in front of you. Don't consume them with anything having to do with tomorrow. Don't even worry about Christmas Day. It'll come here sooner than you think, and however it comes, and be happy with it. reduce your expectations so you can't be disappointed. And then just control what's in front of you and try to always look at the positive, because you determine your outlook on life. And if you're stressed out and feeling negative and like the world is too much, maybe we need to change our perspectives a little bit, because there's a lot of beauty in this world. There's a lot of people that are thriving, and you can and will be one of them.
I mean, that's it, right? If we can take that message that you so articulately, I mean, that's it. I want to arm everybody with that, guys. If you hear those words and they land in your heart, like they just landed in mine, I hope that you share it with somebody that needs to hear it. I'm definitely going to bring Britney back, because I want to share with you her school concept and some of the other magic that this woman is putting out into the world. So thank you so much for joining us for this one, and be ready for my next invite. But thank you in your crazy schedule for making time for this. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Devin. I really appreciate you so much. Thanks for all you're doing.
Guys, reach out to Britney. I'll make sure the links are there. And if you have a question, please ask it, because if you don't ask, the answer is no. I hope that it empowered you as a business owner and as a mother as much as it did me. We will be seeing you soon. Mwah.